The story of a factory worker at the age of 24 to a Premier League winner within 5 years is one of the most magical and uplifting stories in football history. But it's vastly different from any other rags to riches story because Jamie Vardy seems to be just like any of us dreamers. He loves the Inbetweeners and chugs Red Bull before matches. Jamie Vardy wanted to play football every day for the rest of his life when he was just a young child. He came from a middle-class family out of Sheffield, where his father worked in a factory. He was just like any of us, someone who loved football above and beyond anything else. The story of Jamie Richard Vardy starts at the age of 16 when he was part of the Sheffield Wednesday Academy. He didn't have dreams of playing in the Premier League at all by this point. He was happy where he was and wanted to play for his boyhood club. According to him, Sheffield Wednesday had taken over his life and he idolised David Hirst because he did exactly what Vardy wanted to do: score goals for Sheffield Wednesday. The only issue back then was that through a multitude of qualities like his blistering pace, searing passion and being good with both feet, his height hadn't even touched 5 feet yet. So a hopeful young lad with a dream to score goals like David Hirst was released by his boyhood club as he was the smallest player on his team. He couldn't take the rejection lightly and decided to hang up his boots at 16. Months went by and Vardy was stuck in a rut, unsure of what to do next. After 8 long months, he decided to put his boots back on, but only to play for a Sunday league team in the park closest to his house. He readjusted his expectations and started treating football like an enjoyable hobby. Academics and school were never his strongest points, and coming from a middle-class family, he had to find work. The calling came from a prosthetic factory where he did back-breaking shifts, working long hours, going down to the pub with his mates, drinking till everything becomes numb. On one such night, Vardy stood up for his disabled friend and ended up getting into a fight with a couple of strangers. This resulted in an ankle monitor being placed on him. After that, he couldn't play in away matches for his amateur team as his 6 p.m. curfew had to be followed. As a factory worker, he played amateur football for Stocksbridge Park Steels FC, a non-league team in the 8th tier of English football, being paid £30 for every match he played for them. As the raw talent of Jamie Vardy wasn't realised by a fair amount of pro clubs in his teams, it resulted in non-league teams gaining an unpolished gem of a player in their ranks. He scored 66 goals in 107 games for the club and managed to get them promoted to the next tier for the first time in the club's history. Then came a lifeline in the shape of Halifax Town signing him for £15,000. Even though in the 7th tier, this was a move up because Jamie could finally leave his 9-to-5 job and focus on football full time. He could now focus on the technical aspects of the game and improve day by day. He scored 25 goals in 37 matches in the first season of the 7th tier of English football. He was the league's player of the year and won another promotion. The next season, Fleetwood Town signed him for a club record fee to play in the 5th tier. This new club was well run and Vardy was finally earning a decent wage, considerably more than his time at the factory. The doubts his teammates had about spending a record fee on him quickly faded as he just would not miss once he was through on goal. Every time Jamie Vardy would receive a through ball with the help of his well-timed runs, the ball would inevitably end up in the back of the net. And slowly, scouts started taking notice of this roadrunner of a striker who would turn lost causes around. This season was even more impressive as he scored 34 goals in 42 matches. Fleetwood bagged 103 points in the league that season, and their manager stated that without Vardy, there's no chance they could have won it. Clubs from considerably higher levels took notice of this anomaly tearing up in the lower leagues of football. Leicester, West Ham, Wolves, Fulham and Southampton were all interested in signing him. After Fleetwood reportedly rejected winter bids of up to £1 million for the 25-year-old hitman, the news spread like wildfire. Jamie Vardy was valued as the first £1 million man playing in non-league football. The price tag scared a few clubs away, but Leicester was at the peak of its smart recruitment strategy. They spent over £1 million to bring him from the 5th tier to the Championship. This broke a lot of transfer records and Vardy was suddenly in the big leagues. The move wasn't easy to take in stride as he struggled with consistency in his first season. The latter half of the season saw him getting dropped to the bench more often than not. He struggled with depression off the field. As he mentioned in his autobiography, all he could think of doing to deal with that was drinking and getting hammered with his friends. Life at Leicester included a standard of profession unseen before by Vardy. He wasn't just Jamie Vardy anymore, he was Leicester City striker Jamie Vardy. This new set of responsibilities took some time for him to grasp. He was drinking himself to the verge of passing out from his infamous 3-litre bottle of vodka filled with Skittles. But soon he brought to life the precise things that made him such a good player. His aggression and chasing lost causes. He compensated for his smaller frame by getting stuck into challenges. Leicester were soon promoted after Vardy led them on a 21-game unbeaten run in the following season. The 27-year-old Jamie Vardy had reached the top tier of English football. He would now play in the Premier League. The world first took notice of him when he played against Manchester United and scored one and won 2 penalties to come back to a 5-3 victory. On a pitch with Van Persie, Rooney, Di Maria and Falcao on it, Vardy shone the brightest. After a season of relegation-filled fear, the 2015-16 Premier League season started with Leicester given odds of 5,000 to 1 for winning the league. No one paid heed to these odds because frankly, Leicester could not win the league after narrowly avoiding relegation, right? It was a lost cause. But the thing about Jamie Vardy and lost causes is that he genuinely doesn't believe in them. After going on a record-breaking 11-match scoring streak in the league, it was 11, it was heaven for Vardy and Leicester. The initial speculations of a purple patch were soon disregarded as Leicester kept winning and Vardy kept scoring. The end of the season was poised for a fairy tale ending. Vardy got suspended for a couple of matches and had a viewing party at his house 2 weeks later. The Leicester squad watched on as Tottenham dropped points against Chelsea in the battle at Stamford Bridge. The scenes at Vardy's party were iconic as the fairy tale was now complete. The true character that Vardy possessed was revealed soon after, as the title-winning Leicester squad was chopped and sold to bigger clubs. All the while, Vardy reportedly refused to entertain the idea of moving, as he wanted to continue at the club that had made a punt on him. This amount of loyalty is a dying breed in the modern game. He stuck with Leicester and won the Golden Boot in the 2019-20 season. Winning an FA Cup with Leicester was another magical journey. He performed at a world-class level year after year for them and stayed even through relegation in the 2022-23 season. At the age of 37, he has now helped Leicester City secure promotion to the Premier League, scoring 18 goals in 34 matches, even though he doesn't start regularly. Arsene Wenger once observed the sudden abundance of a lot of technically sound number 10 types in Europe, especially in the UK in recent years. In a similar time frame, the Jamie Vardys have become a dying breed of the game. According to Wenger, football has seen a great loss somewhere with the emergence of lush green academies and comfort. Players have gone soft and street football is dying in Europe. And he's correct. Being open to playing football anywhere and everywhere with anyone and everyone teaches you the hardest parts of the game. And getting bullied around the pitch by bigger and older players teaches you how to fight for the lost balls and win within your smarts. Jamie Vardy could run through a wall if he saw a goal on the other side for his team, but this elite mentality is fading away. But at least for now, we can enjoy Vardy back in his favourite league next season and worry about his potential regen some other day.